Hey there, it's me. It's Dr. Rachel. It's Thursday, my favorite day of the week because we get to hang out here every Thursday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, talking about ways to naturally optimize health and get you into a space where you are feeling optimized. So let's kind of get into it. So I love to start with just stories from you guys from around the world as to how things are going for you in this wellness journey. So let me get into it. Let me know you can hear me and see me. Give me the thumbs up. Hey there. All right. Okay, so first one comes from Joseph Phelps. Oh, Rachel, we'll just say, oh, Dr. Rachel, you've helped me so much. Working the massage thingy has helped me so much. He's talking about prostate massage. I do it a couple times a week. I can pee a lot better, perhaps increasing my sex drive as well. I'm 67. You're so smart, very good looking, and damn helpful. Well, thank you so much, Joseph. And he goes on to talk about how definitely so when I ride my 10-speed racing bike with a small seat, this really helps the prostate. But our seasons are short up here in central Canada. Definitely a nice massage without anything up my butt. So he was riding 17 miles a day for a while, but averaged 8 to 10 a night. He said, I might add the massage thingy is a lot more fun. I love it. So he goes on to talk. You surely have helped me a lot, Dr. Rachel. May all your dreams and wishes come true. Dr. Rachel Ross, God bless you. So I love this, and I thank you so much, Joseph, for sharing this with me. Now, a couple things about Joseph's message that I want to reiterate. Now, bicyclists are my biggest clients, right? Because bicycling, for some reason, guys who are, doing this for the long haul, bicycling across country and everything, they have a tendency to have lower levels of testosterone, and studies show that they may have a higher incidence of erectile dysfunction, because what's happening is sometimes that saddle or that seat as they're riding, can actually interfere with some things. Now, is there a difference between a mountain bike rider and a street rider? Well, I really do think it depends a lot on the saddle. So for those of you who are avid bicyclists, you want to invest in a really good saddle or a bike seat so that you can make sure that you have great outcomes and that you don't suffer from any nerve damage that's related to the seat of your bike. So thank you so much for that message. I love it. I love it when you guys are finding success with some of the stuff that we talk about, stuff that I'm so passionate about. Now, another one comes from Henry Mathieu. Hi, Dr. Rachel. I'm 68 years old. Walk 4 to 8 miles a day. Walked up a flight of stairs 2 days before I started the nitric oxide booster, and my legs felt heavy. Day 1, I took 4 spaced out throughout the day, felt nothing. Day 2, the same. Day 3, the flight of stairs, my legs felt fine, and now 8 miles without a break is easy. I now understand why bodybuilders like nitric oxide. My quality of life is greatly improved. Thank you. I'm ordering more today. So I wanted to share this with you because I talk about the benefits of boosting nitric oxide levels so much. We talk about it in terms of sexual function, immune function. We're talking about it in terms of energy levels, but blood flow to vital organs and tissue. And honestly, I've become to think that nitric oxide is actually the fountain of youth. We've found it. And so taking a supplement that boosts nitric oxide the proper way, in a way that isn't going to cause you any long-term damage, is important. So I love that he is taking my preferred nitric oxide boosting supplement, which is based off of inorganic nitrates. So what happens is those nitrates are used by your body to convert and produce nitric oxide, and I love it. Now, so here's the thing. You may start on a nitric oxide boosting supplement. You may be like, well, where are the fireworks? Keep in mind, everybody's different, and it may take a little longer to get your nitric oxide levels up. So I always say that for any supplement that you try, you really want to give it about a 90-day trial before you decide something doesn't work, unless all hell breaks loose, unless there's an allergic reaction, like you feel terrible, you feel awful. But keep in mind, sometimes when you're taking a supplement without the guidance of your physician or your provider doesn't know you're taking it, sometimes you may be taking it too fast. And your body is like, oh my God, what is that? We haven't seen that in so long, that sometimes the supplement, the first few weeks or so can make you feel worse. So I always say when you're starting a new supplement, you want to go slow, start low and go slow and take one a day. Just kind of see how your body likes it. And then start going up a little bit to get towards whatever it is that the bottle's saying. So for those of you who want to use a inorganic nitrate-based supplement, I've got a link below as to my favorite one that right now, because honestly, it's hard to find a good supplement. I do not recommend that you stay on an L-arginine-based supplement for very long. Some of you have been on for years, and now you're hitting the weeds. Those supplements are not designed to stay on for years, because unfortunately that L-arginine can accumulate in your body and start to cause more harm than good, because anything that goes in the body has to find a pathway to get excreted or removed from the body. And sometimes L-arginine just kind of can sit there and not get used. If your nitric oxide synthase isn't available to actually do its job, the L-arginine sits there and can actually create more trouble than you know. So if you're over the age of 40, I always say L-arginine, you got to go slow. It's not something that you want to be on for long periods of time. If you want to use it, fine, use it for a period of time and rotate that supplement out, and rotate an inorganic nitrate-based supplement in, or boost your nitrate levels naturally with something like my E-Function smoothie recipes, and or increasing the ingredients in your diet that are in the E-Function smoothie recipes. All clinically proven ingredients to help boost nitric oxide levels, improve antioxidant levels, and really help strategize and take things to the next level. So whatever you do, remember that we want to be on a regular basis boosting nitric oxide levels, whether it's through nasal breathing, whether it's through getting good rest, maybe it's through exercise, increasing nitrates, just really focusing on the core principles that we know to increase nitric oxide. So thank you guys for sharing those success stories with me. And that's why I love sharing them with you, because they are damn important. So today, cool, we got some really great stuff to talk about. So, I'm a doctor, and I'm a little bit of a nerd. And so I have Dr. Nerd friends, right? So one of my good friends, Dr. Ed Saraf, who is the top integrative medicine pediatrician in the country. He focuses on natural ways to help your kids heal. He's based in the Los Angeles area. He sent me a text yesterday. And so this is why I felt like it was really important that we've got to do this. He's basically, because I always, you know me, I advocate that with ejaculation, it's something that you want to do in moderation, right? So he sends me this great screenshot. Let me see if I have the screenshot here. He sends me this great screenshot basically saying, hey, Rachel, what do you think about this? Because I think as a gent, you're always looking for a reason to tell you know what, go for it. Ejaculate all day if you like. Wouldn't that be great if you said, oh, well, just go ahead and do it. But I also want to remind you that post-ejaculatory hangover, post-orgasmic hangover is a real thing, right? There's a reason why afterwards you feel a little low, you feel like, dang, I could just go to sleep, right? So do you really want to feel like that all the time? But anyway, so let me share with you this article that he screenshot and sent over to me. Oops. Here we go. So it says, men who ejaculate at least 20 times a month slashed their risk of prostate cancer a third. Oh, a Harvard study says. You throw that Harvard name in there and everybody's like, oh, shoot, it must be true. But I also caution you that it was a Harvard study that taught us that it was fat that kills and not the sugar, right? So let's go slow and understand that everything that we read or see, we should take with a grain of salt and do our own research and figure out what's behind it. So the interesting thing about this study is it's not new. It actually is a study that kind of came out in 2016. And what they actually did is they studied a group of gentlemen over the course of time. So over the course of 10 years, they studied 40,000 guys. And basically, it was kind of a self-modulated study, right? It's basically like they took 40,000 guys and checked in with them every 2 months by survey over the course of 10 years, right? And really what they did is they surveyed them about lifestyle. What were they eating? What vitamins were they taking? What were they avoiding toxins? Were they into an organic lifestyle? So on and so forth. But they also asked them about ejaculatory frequency. And what they found in the study was that when it came to ejaculation frequency, the guys who were ejaculating about 21 times a month. Now this, that's a lot, right? Versus the guys who were ejaculating 4 to 7 times a month. The ones in that 21 times a month group were 20% less likely to get low risk prostate cancer. Not the high risk prostate cancer, not the aggressive forms of prostate cancer, but the low risk prostate cancer. Now, this is an important conversation to have because in the United States alone, 1 in 8 men are going to deal with some level of prostate cancer at some point in their life. So this was huge. It was a really well done study, a lot of money behind the study, and a lot of things were looked at when they went through the study. So what I want to talk about are the 3 reasons, the 3 hypotheses as to why they found this out, right? So what they really did, and they really did a good job of, is they tried to adjust for the fact that every guy is different. Some people are doing things that protect them from cancers, like eating healthy, eating organic, exercising, all of the things that we know help decrease your risk of cancer of any type. So they tried to, kind of make it so that the study was looking at guys who, after we remove all of that the guys were basically very similar, and found that the main difference between them is the number of times that these gentlemen were ejaculating. Now, let's talk about the theories behind why maybe 21 ejaculates a month could be protective against prostate cancer. And I think in order to really have that conversation, I think what we want to do is look at a diagram of the prostate that we haven't really talked about before. So let me put this up on the screen where I'm going to show you kind of a nice diagram. So when we're looking at this, I want you to think of this. I want you to remind you that the prostate is a gland, so it secretes. So it is responsible for secreting about 1/3 of the volume of your ejaculate. And it's doing it because in evolutionary practice, it is adding a fluid to your sperm that is designed to help protect the sperm, right? So it's adding prostatic specific antigen and some other stuff to it, right? The prostate is adding to your secretions from the seminal vesicle is that it's designed to help protect the sperm so that potentially the sperm can stay fluid and get all the way up to fertilize an egg, right? So it's actually designed to help stimulate the fertility process. So it protects the sperm. In order to do its job, I want you to think of it, the prostate is a gland. And what do glands do? They secrete things. So let's take a look at this. This is what's considered to be a secretory duct right here. So throughout the prostate are these ducts and glands and ducts that are designed to secrete fluid. So if you think about it, I want you to look over here, this little cluster that looks like a grape, right? Right here. This looks like a little grape, right? So there are microscopic little tiny sacs that look like grapes that when we blow them up, look like this. And these are the cells that are lining this duct that are designed to spew out the fluids. So remember, every time we ejaculate, this gland is designed to help get some of that fluid out of there. And remember, the prostate contracts and like a rubber band shoots it out. Hopefully, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's more of a ooze. Sometimes nothing comes out. But with that being said, it's moving the fluid out, right? Now, if you also look at these glands, I also want to just show you so that you can understand how this happens. At the basal layer here, wait, let me see. Let me erase some of this so you can see what I'm getting at here. At this basal cellular level, or the bottom level here, if you notice, you see a couple different layers of cells. What you'll notice here is that this is the area that prostate cancer actually starts in. And it's usually starting in these secretory ducts. The fluid that's going to come out when you ejaculate is kind of clearing out any toxic residual products that are sitting around in here, right? It makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Think about it like anything, even water. If you have a wooden box and you put a little bit of water in it, okay, so that's cool. You put some shellac on that box, that water sits there, and eventually that water is going to eat through the box and start to cause some issue. And before you know it, there's a hole in the wood and everything goes out, right? So I want you to think of the prostate gland as a series of little wooden boxes. In this case, more like a wooden globe that has fluid in it, that every now and then that fluid needs to be moved and cleared out. Otherwise, if it sits there, that toxic substances that are in the fluid could actually sit there and accumulate and start to cause issues, right? So one of the main theories as to why ejaculating regularly could potentially help prevent a cancer is called the prostate stagnation hypothesis. It's basically saying that when that fluid that's supposed to be ejected out periodically becomes stagnant and just sits there in that gland, in that ductwork, that it actually starts to become stagnant and those toxins don't get cleared out. And as a result of it, carcinogens or cancer-causing agents build up in the prostate, and bam, cancer starts to grow, right? That's why it's so many people that end up with it, 1 in 8. Now, the good news about prostate cancer is that even though we have really high statistics as to how often men get prostate cancer, we have really low statistics in terms of how many men pass away from prostate cancer. So the other two theories as to why ejaculating more could potentially be protective when it comes to prostate cancer is because of, one, it creates a better what's called microbiome for the prostate. Basically, when you think about the prostate, think of it as it's kind of regulating itself. So that maybe when you ejaculate every now and then, what it's doing is just kind of resetting and creating an environment that's healthy for the prostate. So healthy bacteria is there instead of the buildup of some bad toxic bacteria. Then the other theory is basically that maybe guys who ejaculate regularly have lower stress levels, right? Because potentially there's something about an orgasm or an ejaculation process that potentially is calming and can lower stress, right? So if that's the case, then why do we as clinicians take an approach that when a guy has been masturbating too much or has gotten to the point where maybe he has ED and we feel like it is porn-induced ED or masturbation-induced ED, why is it then that my friend sends me this message that basically says, hey, when we're telling guys to stop ejaculating, it could potentially cause depression, right? And anxiety. So what's the deal on that? So he also sends me this screenshot. Thanks, Dr. Ed, right? Abstaining from masturbation raises the risk of anxiety, depression, and erectile dysfunction, this study warns. Now, I think that this is a very misleading headline. And when I say I think it's misleading is because I think at the end of the day, you want to think about excessive masturbation when you're doing it more than you think you should. Maybe you've missed a meeting, you're late to the meeting, you're sitting on the meeting doing it, it has become a compulsion and it's starting to interfere with your life. It's starting to interfere with your erectile function. You've got to start to realize that oftentimes when you're laying down at night to masturbate because you're tired, masturbate because you can't go to sleep, masturbate because you're bored, masturbate because you can't get a hold of this girl you like or this guy you like or whatever. What we're refusing to acknowledge is that oftentimes that is happening because a depression already exists and that you're using masturbation as a way to trick yourself into feeling better for 3 to 5 minutes, right? But then ultimately, what happens? Those of you who are chronic masturbators, after you masturbate, you just don't feel as good as you thought you would, right? Because when we're using masturbation as a tool to really start to feel better, it actually creates this cycle of feeling worse because of the way that it makes your dopamine levels cycle up and down. It's kind of like a roller coaster for dopamine. So at the end of the day, when they're doing a study like this that basically says, hey, what we're finding now is that if we actually take away masturbation from people, then we are actually making things worse for them. But what I think is happening is that we are uncovering a situation that existed beforehand. Because when they did this study about abstaining from masturbation, really what they did is to survey gentlemen who were in these no-fap or, basically these groups that were abstaining from masturbation. They were in groups online and they were communicating with each other and they were supposed to be a support community, but there was a lot of bullying going on. So if you can imagine, you take a group of gents who already are kind of depressed, so they've been turning to masturbation to help them feel better. And then you take masturbation away and then you put them all in a group together. There's going to be the smart ass in the group who's going to be abusive and obtrusive and make rude comments, maybe some bullying going on. And so the study basically looked at guys who were in these groups and surveyed them. And I would really be interested to see what would happen if you surveyed just regular guys who were maybe already in therapy or a space where they were getting help for what was causing the excessive levels of masturbation in the first place. Survey those guys as to how they felt after 30 days of abstaining. Because in my clinical practice, I've seen that sobriety contract and 30 days of abstaining from masturbation and porn actually can improve erectile function. It actually can improve stamina. It actually can help you last longer, because what happens on a higher level like that is sometimes you're training your brain to the porn, right? And then you get with a situation with a partner and your brain has been trained to the porn and not to the partner. So all of these things actually lead to kind of a dysfunctional use when it comes to masturbation. You know me, I'm like everything in moderation. So masturbation, I feel like, is a tool. When you look at men and you look at women who aren't in relationships, masturbation becomes a way to stay healthy down there, to keep blood flow going. If you don't use it, you will lose it. But if you get to the point where you're doing it 5 times a day, 5 times a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble when you try to then be in a relationship with someone or have a regular sexual relationship with an individual. It might complicate things. All right. So I hope that clears things up. Thank you, Dr. Ed, for sending me those articles. If you don't know Dr. Ed, go check him out. He's amazing. He is my kid's doctor, and he really focuses on taking a natural approach, but also knows when to throw medication in there. So I love it. Awesome. So let's see. I got a really great question that I want to share with you.